Welcome back to the Laws That Matter, everyone. I'm Carissa Kranz. Thank you for joining us for another week here. Today we have a very special guest and a dear friend of mine, an animal rights activist, a citizen journalist, and my dear friend who I have not had a chance to catch up with on the phone because we're both just so busy. So I'm so grateful that you're here to join me this hour, because it's not only an hour for everyone to learn about how amazing you are and all the good things you do in the world, and you have so much insight and light to add, but it's also an hour for us to catch up, because I haven't even been able to call you back since last week. So
I know.
Dani Rukin, everybody, the daring vegan, and I thought today would be a great day to have conversations that we should dare to have. You know, you and I have shared many special moments in Los Angeles, having conversations deep in thought, and I think those conversations should be shared. So first of all, how are you?
Oh,
it's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Glad we can make time for each other.
We made time.
I love it. Yes, we catch each other when we can, and I love it. So yeah, thanks for having me on, and I really look forward to it, because the times are very, very unique. I don't think any of us have ever lived on the planet with these conditions exactly the way they are. So it's every one of us.
How have you been doing? How have you been doing? I saw, I've really only followed you I saw the dance you did with your dog on social media, which isn't your dog behind you? Wait, let's see.
Yes, that's Rocco.
Here.
Yeah.
Rocco. There he is. There's his little ears.
Rocco.
Yeah.
He's camera shy. Really, he's more than camera shy. He's actually, it's like sucks a little bit out of his soul. And
really?
So, yeah, I think that he really does not like the camera. And so when I do show him on any kind of camera, it's just to show people like what a soulful being he is, but really his soul does not like it. So yeah. He really feels something, but yeah. So, and how about you? Do you want to show your new baby?
Yes. She hasn't even been introduced on social media yet.
Do it.
Here she is, Pumpkin. Yes, little Pumpkin. She's a 4.5-year-old rescue. She was surrendered by her owner because she had an infected uterus, and it was like a $3,000, $4,000 surgery, and they couldn't afford it. So the rescue took her in, gave her uterus surgery, and now she's healthy and mine.
Oh, thank you for taking her. She's precious.
And she like doesn't bark. She's just sweet.
What a cutie pie.
I don't know if she's afraid of videos or not yet, but I do know that if she's not on my lap or touching me, she has an anxiety attack. And I think that comes from her being abandoned. Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it. She's precious. And so when this is over, I'll be visiting, and I'll get to meet her in person.
Yeah, I was thinking, next time we go to Los Angeles, if we're there at the same time and we visit Jane,
we're gonna
all have these babies in strollers and see how they all get along. I actually brought her here in a stroller. So
that's so cute. And yeah, and now Jane has Tiny Dancer in addition to her other three, so that's really sweet.
Our little we all got babies. These COVID, they're COVID companions, pandemic partners, the perfect ones.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Last night or the other night, I made pandemic pasta. So that's the theme. Yeah, pandemic pesto pasta. I made it from the basil in my garden. Living in Portland, if you don't have a garden now, especially with what's going on, you basically can't be a member of the Portland community. We all have our own, backyard gardens.
Was this on Jane Unchained? Did you film it?
No, I have not yet. No, but I have carrots, basil, lettuce, broccoli. My neighbor just gave me a cauliflower. I'd never even seen what a cauliflower looked like. It gets you connected to cauliflower, yeah, but not from somebody's garden, from the thing and the thing. I'm a city slicker. Turned country folk.
Where are you now? I know you were traveling. Are you back home?
Yeah, I am back in Portland. I was in Sonoma last week. It was beautiful. There's a lot going on here in Portland, a lot of unrest. What I love is there's a new group called Moms Building Walls or something. So there's a lot of protesting going on here. And the federal government now has come in to quell the storm. Meanwhile, our mayor, our governor, all of our lawmakers, our attorney general are all saying, the federal government troops, you are not invited. You are not welcome here. Please leave. So it just shows you, and I think this is going to be happening in other cities, heads up. But what's really powerful, and I think this is part of, what we're about, is that from stressful and painful times come beautiful things, because this group just organically started to come out called, I'd have to look it up. There's too much going on. Moms Against Walls or something, or Moms Building a Wall. What it is it's mostly these white women who are to support Black Lives Matter and to support the protesters who are on the front lines getting tear gassed and shot at. These moms are coming out. They're dressed in yellow. That's the whole thing. Long sleeves with bicycle helmets and goggles and face masks to protect them, because they're all moms. Nobody wants to get COVID. And they're coming out and making a wall to protect everybody else from the violence. So it's
what's the
powerful.
Yellow? What does the yellow mean?
I think the yellow is just a unified one color, and yellow might represent something that I haven't read about, but it could be something it shows it's bright. It shows we're not here. You don't see anybody wearing yellow in camouflage, war territory. It's not a war color. It's very bright and light.
I have to show you something while you talk about that. You keep telling me about the yellow, because now that we're on the topic of the dogs and what I just put to get in the mailroom in the stroller, I'm going to show you what Pumpkin just got. So tell me about that. Tell me about the yellow, and then
there's no more yellow.
There's yellow because wait until you see.
There's more yellow.
Yeah, there's yellow here.
Oh my God.
I haven't opened it because I got it downstairs in the mailroom on the way up because I was rushing. But
did she get a little something?
It's rainy season here.
She's going to be spoiled rotten. She is, and we love it. Oh my God, that's her little. It's going to be her little poncho. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wait, what's the brand?
Ellie Dogwear from Amazon. And then she got little rain boots.
Oh, too much. She is the luckiest little sweetie, and you are the luckiest little sweetie. She's so
four of them.
God.
So I got to open it now. I was so excited. I was late to the show. I was like, I can't open her little poncho. It's raining all week here. I had to put her in a stroller to bring her here because it's raining and she can't go outside and she'll have a panic attack if I leave her alone.
Yeah,
so I grabbed the poncho that I didn't have a time to open, and now you're telling me about the yellow.
Yellow. That is so cute. That is so sweet. Thanks for showing us that. Yeah, people, and dogs can be a gateway to veganism, right? For a lot of people, right? We love our dogs, and I have a very good friend who she's on the East Coast too, and she's she's a lawyer, and she is now going to devote a lot of her free time to doing law for animals, and it's really blowing me away.
Dogs or for
for animals, for non-human animal rights, and she's going to give her gifts and her skills and her experience and talents to this now that she's just retired, and I'm so thrilled. And I think she has a dog now that is, when she sees this show and she sees your little fur baby, I can't wait for her to see it, because, dogs, for me, elephant was the gateway animal to veganism.
Yeah.
Elephants
tell your story. Like, okay, I've been vegan from birth. You had the transition, and I love your message of connect, not convert, meet others from a place of compassion, not judgment. You're really out there. You are an advocate. You were an advocate before you met Jane Unchained, and now you're an advocate in your own world and a major contributor and anchor here on the network. So tell your story of your transition to veganism.
Yeah. So your story blows me away, Carissa. You are vegan from birth. I mean, right? You had me at vegan from birth. You're a specimen. It's a beautiful, and if anybody doesn't know Carissa's story, you should follow her, because fascinating. It's fascinating because most of us were not, vegan from birth, or, I didn't go vegan until I was 55 years old. So everybody, you get to see, the various ways that this can happen. So I've been vegan just about 4.5 years now. And it was an elephant that got me to go vegan. I had heard about,
famous elephant.
A famous elephant. And right now, Cher is involved. So now, and in fact, we're going to probably be hopefully we'll be connecting with Cher, and definitely she'll be celebrating, and maybe even with Jane Unchained when Kavan the elephant gets free. So Kavan the elephant.
Tell us about the elephant.
So Kavan the elephant has been suffering at a zoo in Islamabad for over 30 years, mostly chained, sometimes not, in a concrete shed, outside. Really horrible situation. And we hear about this. And remember, everybody, before you start going to judge a country or a place or an origin or an area or a group or a community or a region or anything, stop it. Just stop it. Okay. This is tough love. Because we are all, everywhere you go, animals are considered to be used, to be exploited for our own benefit. And when you do that to animals, we do it to ourselves, we do it to each other. We'll get into that deeper conversation. So this elephant, almost 5 years ago, I'd heard about this elephant from a friend. We were having dinner and it was like, this is horrible. I've never been for circuses. I had gone when I was a kid, but it didn't make me feel comfortable. I didn't like zoos, except that when I lived across from the Lincoln Park Zoo, right across the street in Chicago, I like the children's zoo. I like the little babies. Like, who doesn't love baby animals? Who doesn't love baby elephants, right? The problem is that we need to be willing to get out of willful ignorance. We need to be willing to look and bear witness to the pain that they're going through, and think through, how did this baby get here? Was this willingly? Was this through love? Are they being used? Are they being used for anything? For profit? Follow the money. So this elephant was clearly in a bad state. All the animals at this zoo are in a very, very bad state. So the short version is that I got involved with the Free Kavan the Elephant campaign. That's how I met Brittany Michelson, who we'll talk about. But Brittany and I met through that campaign. We are now close friends. We've seen each other. I've stayed with her in Topanga Canyon. I mean, we're really close. She authored this book here, Voices for Animal Liberation.
I was with you at that
the
reading,
opening, the launch
in Los Angeles.
Party,
yes.
The launch party in Santa Monica. That's right. We were together. So you saw, I think 60 people came out. That was in March, right before the pandemic really got going. And I'll read my poem later from that. Well, it's not from this, actually. There's a story in here. But what I wanted to mention about Brittany is that look at how this happened. Talk about laws that matter, is that Brittany and I connected through this campaign. She was vegan. I was not. She was never judgmental. I didn't know really about vegan. I just knew I was kind of judgmental of it. I didn't really know exactly what it was. Like I say in my story here, I thought it was an extreme version of vegetarianism, which it is in a good way. Now in a good way. But back then, I just thought vegetarians were bad enough. Now they have to go vegan. That's really extreme. Yeah. But so this elephant connected Brittany and I. When I think about how this elephant, Kavan, has done so much for so many of us. He is still suffering, but he's soon to be released. The High Court has said and repeated, it is definitely a done deal that he is being released. And in fact, on my show, The Animal Hour, which we can talk about more on later, Mark from Free the Wild.
And when is the Animal Hour? Just when is that?
Okay. So Animal Hour is on Saturdays at 4:00 here on Jane Unchained News. We have various guests. We had Veggies Do It Better vegan power couple, Jake and Chelsea, on last time. They do the virtual vegan night market. And Jake, by the way, was the hunter and a fisherman. Chelsea was as a vegan animal rights activist. They met at a party and everybody thought this isn't going to go well. And they actually found their common bond. So anyway, they now did a vegan cooking show recently on Lunch Break Live. So I had them on recently, but about a month ago, I had Mark on from, I'm forgetting his last name right now. I had Mark on from Free the Wild. He co-founded Free the Wild with Cher. The reason Cher founded Free the Wild is because she really has a feeling, she really feels for those more vulnerable among us, especially wild animals. When we were doing the Free the Kavan campaign almost 5 years ago, we were doing all kinds of things to get the word out about Kavan. When I got on board, I was like the 700th or 600th signature to free Kavan. I don't sign things, but when my friend at dinner said, just sign the thing, I said, I'll sign the thing. It's not going to do anything, but I feel really bad. And then I got onto this thing on the campaign on Facebook. 27,000 signatures later, Kavan was unchained. And that was like, whoa, we have some power, because we were really, really hitting it hard, non-violently.
You should have a show on the Animal Hour called Kava Unchained, on Jane Unchained.
Yes. Oh, that's so smart. You and Jane, have that snapping. So here's what happened. So he was unchained. Sadly, he was unchained. He was chained. He was chained. It just went on and on and on. So we kept going. And also Anika is a huge reason that Kavan is going to be freed, because she started, as well as with other people, these tweet storms. So we would tweet about Kavan. We would do everything we could. And lo and behold, Cher got a hold of the tweets. We tweeted Hillary. Wow. I think, said something. Yeah, Hillary mentioned it in her tweets. This was almost 5 years ago. And but Cher is the one who, Hillary was running for president. She was a little busy, but Cher was free as a bird, and Cher started to get involved. She sent Mark to the Islamabad Zoo. He started developing relationships. It took them over 2 years. For somebody like Cher and all her resources and starting Free the Wild, it still took over 2 years, lots of false alarms, and finally he is going to be freed. And
how long has he been chained again?
Well, when I started, it was like 27 years. Now it's been like 33 years or something.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been chained, and it's a really sad situation.
So what is it about that situation, though, that gave you the aha moment? Because there's so many stories out there, and there's so much suffering in the world.
It's a good question.
And it's so easy to not pay attention, not notice. So there was something about that story. Something happened that you had an aha moment. What was it? I
think the stars were aligned, because I think it wasn't. That's a very good question, Carissa. It wasn't. It was the story. It was Kavan's plight. But my dad had just died, and I always forget to put this together, because my dad had just died, and my dad was powerful. For me, he was larger than life. He was larger than life. And then that summer, the summer of 2015, when I had to go out and fly out there and see him in the state he was in, and then make the very hard decision to put him in the hospice. That's what he wanted. He was dying. And it was incredibly, and also I had to fight a lot of hospital people and do all kinds of things and get his rights. And then I got him into a 5-star hospice. It was, it's the Norman Jewison, whatever, I don't know, whatever, but it was where he belonged. And it was just like the way he lived. He died the way he lived. But it was such a fight to do what I had to do, and then to be with him and watch him, this powerful man, just like elephants are these beautiful, powerful, noble beings, and what we do to them, and then to watch my dad just become this, it was really painful for me, and it was the hardest thing having him go. So that was the summer of 2015. That was around, his funeral was in August, and I'm not kidding, like 2 weeks later, my friend came up from LA. We were having dinner together, and she was telling me about Kavan, and I was like, that's so horrible. Again, I always felt for the underdog. I was always the one in school. Like if a kid was eating by themselves in the cafeteria, I would invite them over. I'd go over, and I would just like, hey, what's that? What's that? Hey, come on over. And, I was always like that. It always made me feel bad. But I did turn away. The pain of animals was too much. It was like, I knew that what we did to animals in order to eat them was a necessary evil in my mind. I knew it wasn't pretty, but it's like, well, I hope with all our technology, we're doing the best we can. I'm sure we are. And I just didn't want to think about it. I did start to want to eat. When I moved to Portland, I was like, oh, humane. Everything's humane here. Humane meat, humane wild caught this, and ethically sourced that. So I did start to feel better about eating animals. I didn't call it eating animals when I was eating them. I called it being normal. But the compassion in it was there. But if I had ever seen all those years before Kavan, when I would see the pain and the suffering of what we were doing to animals, I couldn't look, and it was like, that's horrible. We're just, the world is a bad place. That's terrible, but I can't see that. But I think right with the advent of Facebook and social media and everything, when I was willing to look at one animal's pain, and from there I started.
Was that
to get
Kava, the elephant?
Kavan the elephant. I was willing. I needed to see what was happening. I could not help it.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is that from there, I then got fascinated with elephants. So I started reading everything about elephants, their altruism, the way they come together, the matriarchal herd, how they're necessary for our land. They create waterways. We're all connected. So from there, I started to see the pain of other animals, the abuse that other animals in the entertainment, because animals are used for entertainment. They're used for, in the riding elephants and circuses and having them paint and play football and all that. You have to do horrific things to these 13,000-pound beautiful beasts in order to get them to do these ridiculous, stupid things. So when I saw that, and I saw also in the logging industry, they're used for hauling horrible, and they get crippled. It's horrific what we do. And again, I do not want to blame any region, because for them, it seems like a necessity. We have other ways that we, abuse and exploit beings.
It's a global problem.
It's a global problem, and we exploit humans for the same reasons. So the final thing I wanted to say is that it then exposed me to the other cruelties of other animals in the entertainment industry as well as others. And then I started to see footage of what we do to animals for our food system. And
what was that? Was that a documentary? What footage?
That's a good question. It actually wasn't. It was just pieces of things. I'm sure pieces of
on social media, or
it was. Yeah, these are good questions. It was social media. Well, I Googled what do we do to pigs? I Googled pigs and slaughter, and I forced myself to watch. If you want to Google pigs and what would people Google now? I can't even think of it. Google pigs and
how about chicken culling, which I never heard of. And then I Googled that about a year ago. I learned of that from Jane, actually. I was embarrassingly never even heard of it, and horrified to see millions of baby chicks on a conveyor belt to be ground alive. I mean,
I want to tell people, because a lot of people think, oh, chickens in the backyard and this is so sweet and they give us our eggs and what would we do with them anyway? It's actually not true. What Carissa's talking about, chicken culling, think about it. Only female chickens and chicks are needed. It's the female broiler discrimination. And so they lay the eggs. They're the broiler chickens. So guess what we do to all the male chicks? They have to be killed. Who's going to raise male chicks? When you see roosters, nobody wants them. I love them.
Yeah. And Dani, the numbers are like astronomical, of like 3 billion animals are killed every day, which is, if you add it up, close to 1 trillion a year. I wonder, I have a feeling it does not even count the millions and billions of baby chicks that are ground alive. I have a feeling that's not even counted.
I bet you're right. And in fact, the first protest I did, which was 4 years ago, in like whenever Easter is, I don't celebrate those things. But whenever, we're Jews, but whenever Easter is, I did my first protest outside of our, it's a natural foods market. It's not the main one. It's a local one here. And it was against, what we do to chickens for eggs. That was my first protest. I didn't even know what I was joining. It was just like, take me to a protest. PETA was organizing it, plus our local Portland Animal Activism. And I went, and what I learned is that at that time, we were saying 250 million male baby chicks are ground up alive here in the United States. Do you know what it is now? Now when I go out.
How many is it? What's the number?
It was 250 million. Now it's 300 million in the United States alone every year. 300 million male baby chicks are ground up alive. And I bet that number is probably not even counted in the $3 billion a day of what we kill to eat.
I think so. I don't think it's counted. And I think you're making some really important connections with yourself that a lot of people can identify with, because what you're saying is you were basically a vegan heart before you were vegan, because your compassion was extending to other people in middle school when people were, you know, isolated in a cafeteria, and you were blocking it out because it just wasn't convenient to think about it, but you couldn't go kill the animal yourself. And I think that most people, frankly, unless you're a hunter and you're able to do it, most people are a vegan, compassionate heart, and they couldn't do it themselves, and they don't want to know because they can't deal with it. They can't process it. So there has to be a way, like you always say, connect, not convert. Although some people do need to be, it depends on who it is. You got to meet people where they are, which is why you have to connect to convert, I guess. But yeah,
you know, I want to say that about connect, not convert. That's exactly it. You have to connect in order to convert. So the idea is, right, connect with people, like you say, meet people where they are, and don't judge. If I had been judged into veganism, I wouldn't have done it, because
it won't work.
It won't
people
work.
Can't
it doesn't
be judged.
work. But when you do connect with them, they will convert themselves on their own. They will, like I did. I chose veganism. I did a very, very self-reflective process. It's in my About on the Daring Vegan. I talk about how I and also how an elephant got me to go vegan was my first blog. And I talk about how I just let it all sink in. I went into my kitchen and I looked around and I was like, okay, if I'm doing this, because I didn't do it overnight. I was like, I didn't know how to go vegan. And I said, I'll eat cardboard before I eat another animal. Now, I might starve. And luckily, there's the internet, so I didn't have to starve. But it really bugs me. Talk about not judging. Let's just judge for a minute. It really bugs me when most people have, it's an arrogance, I think, of human beings that we do. It's just like, well, what butters do you have before I decide, you know, what butters, you know, Miyoko's, okay, all right. I don't really like it. Do you have any better cheeses? It's just like, it drives me crazy. It's like, well, those meats, the processed meats, plant meats, how are they really healthy? It's like, do you think the eating animal, what we do to animals, right?
I know.
It's a little hypocritical.
I'm not sure that those are the people that we should even try to talk to, because there are so many people out there that are like able to make the connection and be in receiving mode if the stars aligned like they did for you, right? If they are of the right heart and spirit. Yeah,
that's really true, because it's like sales. What you're saying, it's like sales. You go out there and be you and do you and carry the message, be an example, lead by example. People it's attraction rather than promotion. People are going to want what you have. Look, I'm going to be 60 in a few months. And, you know, you're going to be 89. Look at you. You don't look a day over 30. She's been vegan for life, people. You can't even look at this. I mean, we are walking, living, breathing. You know, my family members don't look like this. And we came from the same, you know, genes. And they're, you know, they're like twice my weight. They look like they're in the Midwest. They you know, we're living different lives.
Yeah.
And they have all kinds of conditions and take pills and.
Yeah. You know, I think being vegan times have changed. When I grew up, I was the one judged. Being vegan was weird, and it was considered unhealthy at the time and a sacrifice. And now it's very clear that, you know, vegans can thrive, not just survive. And if you have access to the right foods, which is happening more and more and more because the vegan movement is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. As long as you open your taste buds to try these other options, you will realize it is not a sacrifice. I took my paralegal to dinner recently at the Yard House, a national chain. I'm not sure about international, but a national chain restaurant, and they have on their menu Gardein, and they have the Beyond Meat burgers. And she was, going to order her chicken and whatever. And I'm like, listen, I'm not paying the bill unless you order my way. Okay. And she's like, okay, well, I don't really even know what that looks like, Carissa. I go, well, okay, you see everything on this menu where you have chicken, you can replace that with Gardein. And your daughter that likes her little hamburgers at Burger King, she will next time order the Impossible Burger. She's like, that's never going to happen. I go, okay. So I ordered on the menu the Beyond Burger. I ordered all the Gardein buffalo wings. We had the this barbecue chicken pizza, but instead of chicken, we put on the Gardein.
Yeah.
We got this like barbecue chicken salad with the Gardein and the avocado. And there was so much food. She ended up taking it home to her family, and she was blown away. She was blown away. She was like, how is this not a real hamburger? This is really good. And I'm like, I told you, you just have to open, it's open your realm of consciousness. So when you look at the menu, it's like you with the elephant. You realize the elephant was suffering, and then suddenly your realm of consciousness expanded, and it turned into pigs and the connection to dogs and all other animals and life and beings. It's no different with a menu. That's human nature. Like, once you recognize something, you see more of it, and you expand your consciousness to allow it into your realm of consciousness. So even on a menu, like, people will say to me my whole life, like, what do you order? How do you order at a restaurant? It's not hard. All you have to do is expand your consciousness to stop going to what you're used to going to all the time, because we are creatures of habit as human beings, and try something new. And if you try something new, you're going to realize, wow, that's really good, and it's sustainable, and it's healthy, and I feel better, and nobody died.
Yeah, and also, right, I love what you're saying. It's being willing. There's a saying in 12-step programs, contempt for alcoholics, addicts, and so forth. Contempt prior to investigation is the biggest obstacles to alcoholics getting sober. And it's the same concept when you're contemptuous before you even look into it. It's like, be open, be curious, be willing, and open your mind and open your heart. That's what the 12-step programs are about. Who have, so many people have recovered from alcoholism. Then we can recover from carnism when we open our minds, and, like you say, expand our consciousness. Because for those of us who are against discrimination, against based on race, based on sex, based on gender, right? Ableism, based on age, it goes on and on, ethnicity. If you are against injustice for all of those things, then you are actually, like you said, Carissa,
vegan.
You're already vegan, because veganism is not about being an animal lover. I have a friend, and I kid you not, she literally said yesterday, she's a vegan animal rights activist, and she's in Tahoe right now with her mom, because it's where her mom wants to be right now, and she's doing a good thing. And she's a city person, and what she said is, she said, I can't stand being in Tahoe. Who wouldn't? I mean, I would kill to be in Tahoe, right? I'm a nature kid, even though I'm a city slicker, born and raised in the city, but I have that in me. She literally said, when we go walk the dogs and go walk around the block, she goes, I can't stand it. There's critters, and there's bugs and animals, and things might come. She can't stand nature, but she is a vegan animal rights activist.
Yes. There's the animal rights movement.
Companion animals.
Right. There's the animal rights movement, and then there's the vegan movement. And the vegan movement is a movement for social justice, it's an ethical movement. It's ethical movement.
You don't have to be an animal lover. You just have to be for justice, for equality.
Yes.
And right?
Yes.
And to be against, if you're against oppression, if you're against violence, you're already vegan.
Right. So let's take Paige's comment here and answer that.
Hi, Paige.
Hi, Paige. How have you brought forth spirituality on your message for veganism?
You answer that first, Carissa. Because I love the laws that matter. When we were walking on the beach and you were telling me about the laws that matter, each law, I was going, yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. So share with us, and we'll riff off of that.
Yeah. So I'm a lawyer by trade, and I believe in spiritual laws. I've been a spiritual being my entire life. And I think that there are a few pillars that make people vegan. It's the environment, it's the animals, it's their health. And then there's a component that's really not talked about much that I think could be an entire movement, because those are the receptive people. If we could just get to them and talk to them, because they are trying and aspiring to do better, be compassionate and kind. And that's the spiritual side of things. I think that veganism is a spiritual movement. And being a vegan means that you have made the connection, that you have knocked everything into alignment. And I can't say all vegans, because there are vegans that are out of alignment, okay, with other things. But I truly believe that when you realize that our circle of compassion must extend beyond ourselves to all life, and that we are all connected, and then you are able to connect with this higher power of whatever you want to call it is that works for you, that energy source. Once you are connected to that energy source within you, you realize you cannot harm another being. And that will include insects and rescue missions for insects. There was a roach in my house the other day, and my dad was like, I'll get it. And I was like, no, you won't. We're going to rescue it. And my dad looked at me like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no, I'm not kidding you. So the roach escaped.
I love you.
Roach escaped.
Roach escaped.
We didn't even get to rescue it out of the house. So they went into the crevice of the wall, and then the next day the roach reappeared. And then we got it out the next day. We like got it with cardboard in a box.
That's what I do for spiders. I have it all set up. The glass, the cardboard, it's already ready for when the time comes. I like a lot of spiders get to stay here, but certain types, then I draw the line and I do the little glass and cardboard. Yeah.
So I think with me, my message is I am a vegan, and I've been a vegan my whole life. I've not really been an activist like you, who became vegan later. You made it's like born again Christian sometimes, born again vegan. You get it. You're going to go, you're going to take the streets. You're going to do direct action. You know, you're out there with the mic. I've never done any of that.
Vegangelism.
Yes, I've never done. And I actually had him on the show last week. Why am I blanking on his name right now?
Thomas Wade Jackson?
From Prayer for Compassion. Yeah.
Beautiful film. Prayer for Compassion. Beautiful film.
Conversation. And he's a spiritual being too, in so many ways. And there's a lot of us like that are vegans. But I think it's just so important to, Jane called me a subtlist. Or maybe I called myself a subtlist. And then she's like, I like that. Because
I am not subtle.
No, you're not subtle, but that works for you. And you've probably converted a lot of people that way, because you've made people see what you had to see to wake up.
Yes. And the same with you, just living your life, and look at you, if they were wondering about your brain power, like she's born and raised vegan. So they were worried, her brain might not develop right. Can you tell people you have a JD from Bolt Law in
Berkeley. Yeah.
And then you also have from Northwestern, you have what do you have? What's the other degree you have?
A master's in journalism.
A master's in journalism from Northwestern?
Yeah.
I mean, and she's got 5,000 businesses. And I just want people to see. Go ahead.
No, and I took the bar exam in 3 places too. So there we go. Right. So veganism is not a sacrifice. I was also a professional ballet dancer. The documentary Game Changers shows how, athleticism is not a sacrifice to veganism. Mental acuity is not a sacrifice. None of it is. That's the defense. It doesn't exist. None of those things are real. Those arguments aren't real.
They're not.
But people will find facts to support what they want to believe.
That's right.
For me, I'm on a spiritual path and a spiritual journey. I happen to also be a vegan. And I think that it's important for me to be able to talk to people who are not vegan, because I had to fit in with those people growing up as the only vegan.
Wow.
And
that's activism. It's a form.
Kind of. It's a form. It's a subtle form, though, because I was the one at the dinner table that everyone was like, well, how do you get your protein? And what are you eating? And so I was always on the defense, and
exhausting.
It was exhausting. So I think it's more important to me to somehow get to people whose heart's in the right place and use my message, my platform, my success with business as the founder of BeVeg, a global vegan certification firm, which is, taking off in ways that are beyond my wildest dreams. And
it should.
I think, but that was me practicing the laws that matter, right? I was a lawyer doing securities litigation at a big law firm. And then I started my own firm. And before that, I was a prosecutor doing criminal law. And then I started my own firm, and I still do a lot of personal injury for injured clients. But something inside
aren't you also you do legal, like on news shows? What's that aspect of your?
I've done a lot of, for years, legal commentary for like Nancy Grace, Dr. Drew, CNN, CBS, NBC. I hosted a show in New York with Dan Abrams for Law and Crime Network, which is like court TV of today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And much like Jane, who had a background in television broadcast,
journalism,
news and journalism, but crime, we both burnt out of that and wanted to transition our energy and our messages into topics that matter within our own approach.
Topics that matter. That's another.
Yeah. And, I actually noticed on TV, do you notice how like mainstream media, they have shows like The Facts That Matter? Let's get to the facts.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like, I think it might have been Fox or CNN. One of them, they had a facts. Let's get to. It's like a segment they do. The facts that matter. So for me, it's important to somehow get my message across in a way where I don't pigeonhole myself into a vegan movement, because I think it's better for my approach to get to speak to people who are vegan curious and are possibly there and are a vegan heart and compassion, but that are spiritually aligned, and then they might get it. Whereas if you stick within the movement of just veganism, you're kind of preaching to the choir. Yeah. And I think it's great to have a community of people that understand you and get you, but there's so many people out there who want to get there, who really, really want to get there, and they just don't know how. Like you said, how do I go vegan? Like, they don't know how to do it. So it's, for me.
Well, what's interesting? Yeah, what's interesting about what you're saying is when I first went vegan and I started the Daring Vegan, and then I got way too busy. But it was about vegan cooking, traveling and eating while vegan, and then also inspirational things that I was doing, as well as my activism. And I was very naive. So at first, when I started it, I think I wrote in my little introduction, like, "Hi world." I was like, "Well, come here to just learn," and everything like that. And then I realized not many people want to learn about it necessarily. And I got to tell you, especially in the spiritual community, because what I completely forgot is that, the low-hanging fruit can be some people who are very interested in health, especially if they don't want to have heart attacks and diabetes, or if they're athletes and they want to up their game. Then those people might be interested in veganism. Environmentalists, when they realize that, it's hard to say you're environmentalist if you're, participating in animal agriculture, because it is the leading cause. And you can go to climatehealers.org. Dr. Sailesh Rao shows with white papers how it is the leading cause of climate, climate devastation, right? And climate justice. So those who are very much about climate justice, then they're low-hanging fruit, as well as spiritual people on a spiritual path. The problem is that when I would talk, and also people who are for social justice, right? But the problem is when I first came out as vegan and I thought all these people would be interested, it's like, surely you'll be interested because you're interested in, you care about social justice, you care about climate justice, you care about, your yoga and your Buddhism and your spiritual practice. This is going to be easy. Just expand your circle of compassion to include animals. And they didn't. Yeah. So it was a shock for me, because it was another level of having to actually take my spiritual. This has been one of the biggest spiritual developments for me is veganism, and realizing that you can share all this and people will still, but that's where we have to remember they're going to resist, because there's cognitive dissonance. It's really hard to see ourselves as being responsible for such atrocities. It's too hard. And I also want to say that, regarding that, I forgot that I was already very involved on a spiritual path before veganism. And I didn't, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm a spiritual person who's now having going to go vegan for my spiritual reasons. It wasn't like that, right?
No, it's a connection.
I made the connection.
Yeah.
I made the connection, and I said, wait a minute. In fact, somebody said on a post, that's what I was all about, the elephants. So I started reading and looking in different sites. People were talking on PETA post, and I was lurking. I was learning. I was hungry. And then I saw somebody yell at somebody else. They were a little bit harsh, but they said, you can't be, if you're against animal cruelty and you're not 100% vegan, you're a hypocrite, and it was just like, kind of immature and everything. But they were saying it to somebody else. And I was like, huh.
Right. But if they said it to you directly, you'd get defensive. But when you can hear it said to someone else, then you can process it and make it your idea to change.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I took that in. It was one of many, 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 many things.
Yeah. Well, and I think there were a lot of people out there, we don't need to name any names, but I know you and I have had a conversation who, are like on the path, and we think that there's hope in this lifetime, and they talk the talk and they get it, but there's just that disconnect on this one topic, but they are a vegan heart. So let's see, fingers crossed on those, on those people.
And like you say, we don't wait. It's like sales. You just go next, you get a no, you get a maybe, they come back, right? You just keep going. And
how many people would you say have converted through?
Oh, that's a great, I get people who email me and, or not me, they Facebook message me and say, I want you to know that because of you, blah, 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 blah. They say it all the time. I have one woman who says she won't want her teenage son. He's 13. All he does is watch video games, and she's vegan. She said, but whenever you come on, he tells me, tell me when Dani the Daring Vegan's coming on. I love listening to her. I love watching her talk to people on the streets. That was like, when a 13-year-old boy says, now I'm listening, but to nobody, then you're doing something right. So I really appreciate that. So
I have a question, because we are running out of time. I know you have a leadership, you have a leadership program, and you have, you're a certified coach to help people. Do you bring veganism into your message as a leadership coach, or do you keep it more corporate?
The quick version is at first I didn't at all, because it's just, I got to keep it, I've got to feed the fur kids. But you know what? More and more, I got to tell you, I work with a lot of millennials in tech, and they are open to it. And so they'll say, there's more and more openness. So I have to gauge it and this and that. But and also, by the way, I do different things like compassionate communication for our community. I'll do pro bono like nonviolent communication, compassionate communication, to help teach those of us in the vegan animal rights world, fellow activists, how to connect with people without, judging, and just really how to really be, I don't use this word spiritual, but that's really what it is. I can't wait till we do this again, Carissa, because we have only scratched the surface of this conversation about spirituality and veganism and activism.
I know.
Because I don't think activism is going to survive without spirituality. We can say we're against this and against that, but without spirituality, we're just going to recreate it in the new communities.
Mm-hmm. It's all part evolution, and
by the way, I don't think people can see this, but that's the whole shirt. 100 billion animals like this. Isn't that cute?
Yeah. More than 100 billion probably now, right?
Seriously.
It's a pretty horrific thing that we're doing on our planet. So one day we're not going to have a choice but to wake up, because Mother Nature is intervening. And hopefully we can continue the message and the dialogue to get to the right people to expand their consciousness and understand the spiritual component of not contributing to the systematic murder of animals and
Mother Nature, right? Mother Nature, like you said, it's our rivers and our mountains and our animals and our insects and our humans and the air. We're all one. we gotta meet again, because we are all one. Has not even, we haven't even scratched the surface.
I know. And we're supposed to be taking care of this planet, right? And we're just not taking care of this planet. We're not taking care of our fellow creatures. I know one of the documentaries I saw and never really wanted to see, but I felt I had a responsibility to make myself get through it. And that was Earthlings. And I think I was hysterically crying the entire time. I am not someone that is able to look at that kind of stuff on PETA or on Facebook pages. I look the other way because I just can't deal with it. Your reality is what you allow it to be. And I think that's why a lot of people eat meat who are good people. They are busy in their own realities. They're overwhelmed. The world is chaotic. And they're tuning out this reality because it's convenient to do so, because it's not a pleasant reality, and life is already unpleasant enough right now. Just turn on the news and we are consumed with brain pollution in our head, and we don't even have the mental bandwidth to process what we're doing. And there's a reason that slaughterhouses don't have glass walls, and there's a reason that reporting the crimes against animals in factory farms makes those that are reporting the crimes, the criminal, at the status of felony terrorism. You are called a terrorist if you are reporting the atrocities of animal abuses in farms. So there is a long way for us to go.
There's a long way. And I also want to say that, what was I going to say? It was very quickly. That people don't want to look, and it's too painful and it's overwhelming, and we're just trying to get by. And these are good, kind people. What I want to say, and I know you'll relate, it's liberating. It's so liberating to stop eating animals. It's a freedom. So the very thing that you fear that you're going to give up, or that you're going to lose, or you're going to be even worse, or it's horrible, it's better. Yeah. It's better.
So since we're running out of time, and we will have to do it again.
We will.
Do you want to read that poem that you have before it ends?
Yeah. It's 59 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, let's do it. Okay. Because you have you're featuring a BeVeg
certified vegan product.
Woohoo! All right, let's get to it. So I just took a class recently and in creative writing, and it was in the winter, and then I wrote this poem. It was March 15th, our last class. Coronavirus was just starting to, become a thing. And here's what I wrote. And this is for the animals. This is for all of us. It's called Our Corona. Animals in crates, helplessly clinging to life, meet a gruesome fate. Italians singing alone and together, balconies and windows ablaze, spirits intact. Toilet paper sales skyrocket as the market plunges. We cancel everything except for our indiscriminate and unrelenting slaughter of the most vulnerable among us, and call it food. Mad cows, swine fever, bird flu, SARS, MERS, COVID-19, zoonotic diseases of the human heart, feeding only our self-serving narrative that it's the cycle of life. Tell that to the victims straight to their face. We bury and burn them alive and call it culling. We say they're contaminated and exterminate them, exterminating only our humanity. We plunder Mother Earth and take her for all she's worth, yet she holds the key to our existence.
Thank you, Dani.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. No, I love you too. I'm sorry we haven't been able to catch up on the phone. So this was
it's been back and forth. I owe you, you owe me. Now we're here, and so I'll talk to you this weekend.
This is how it's gonna go. Probably. I'll see you on the air. I see you on Jane.
Yeah, I'll see you on Jane.
See you on Jane and at Jane's, and we'll walk our dogs. I can't wait for the doggies to meet. So
I know. Yeah. Rocco, say hi to Pumpkin. See what I mean? He doesn't like the. Oh, hi, Pumpkin. Hi, Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. She's so cute.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Carissa.
Yeah, thank you. Let's catch up soon, and we'll definitely do this again, because I think you and I could talk for hours, and that's our problem.
No, it's not our problem. I would love, by the way, next time we could go through each one of the laws that matter. I would love to do that.
Yeah, and we can do that. I haven't even really broached most of that stuff publicly.
But I love it.
I'm happy to do so. Yeah. Because I think it's a means Yeah, the laws that matter. It is. I sometimes I bring up little bits and pieces of it, like subpoena yourself to show up in life, or let's do discovery to learn more about ourselves, and soul discovery, self discovery, and subpoena your soulmate. I mean, there's so many things that are these spiritual universal laws. We live in a law-based universe, and
Yes, we do.
Those are the laws that matter. And human law, which is the law I was trained in and licensed in, is an intended version of these higher laws. But as a spiritual being, I believe that we can all be spiritual lawyers, and access to these God-given fundamental rights are our birthright. You don't go to law school to have access to spiritual laws. So that's the bottom line. And one day the book will come out. Yeah.
Well, it's already manifesting, the law of manifestation.
The law of attraction, which the book goes so far beyond. But yeah, that would be fun to talk about one day. I've just been so focused on BeVeg and on the vegan law book that I have coming out soon.
Yes, the vegan law book. Can you say one quick thing about it? Because I think it's so important that no one has ever done this. We have non-human rights, but what this vegan law book is critical.
Yeah, so it's when someone approached me to do the book, I was like, that's been done. There's no way. And when I Googled it, and I'm like, holy cow, it's not been done. And basically, there's a lot of animal law books that have been done. And there's a lot of, like you said, the Non-Human Rights Project, but there's nothing that's been published here in the United States that deals with vegan law and our rights as vegans, which is consistent with the vegan message, because vegans are compassionate and concerned about other beings. So their whole activism is about others. But if we just stopped and took a step back and made it about ourselves, got a little bit more egocentric, to have the rights extend to us as vegans, to choose this compassionate lifestyle, to make it a constitutionally protected class, just like gender and marriage equality and disability and religion, etc. Then we have rights that will extend into the workforce, rights that give us damages if we are fed non-vegan food and lied to at a restaurant.
That's right.
Right now, there are no damages for that. And there's a whole host of issues. So the book goes into vegan labeling law, like BeVeg. It goes into the rights of parents and determining the nutrition of a child upon divorce. The right of discrimination in the workplace. Someone even brought up to me, if in some states, pets are considered part of the family and family members. Like in California, you can get emotional damages if someone murders your pet. But in Florida, for example, pets are considered property, so you can only get the adoption fee back. So what about in states like California, where they are considered and recognized family members? Do you get the same rights of leave from work because of the loss of a loved one in your family? I mean, there's a lot of different legal things to consider if we could just get our own constitutional rights protected and recognized. And then when we're recognized, then we have grounds to say how insulting certain things are to us within our presence, and that need to be protected. Another thing is like the Americans with Disabilities Act, right? That we have to make reasonable accommodation for those with disability. Same thing with vegans. There should be an Americans for Vegans Act, and I'm putting this in the book. So if someone wants to go out there and write the legislation, please do it. There should be an Americans with Vegans Act where places of public accommodations, prisons, schools, hospitals, restaurants, everywhere that's public should be required to have reasonable vegan accommodations. And that does not mean a plate of vegetables. That means a vegan menu, a vegan option that's healthy, that's well balanced and tasty. So
I love this.
Yes, there will be this vegan book. Vegan publishers, publishing houses publishing it. And
you're not an activist.
Cool.
Nah.
I'm not an activist, and I'm not an overachiever.
Either.
No.
Oh, so, this is exciting. Look at how lit up you get. What you're talking about it's groundbreaking, and it's ahead of its time, and it's time. The future is vegan, and the future is now.
Yes, the time is now. All right, Dani, thank you so much, and give me a call soon this weekend.
I will. Yes, back at you. Thank you, Carissa.
Bye.
Bye, sweetie.
Bye. Okay, now I'm going to move to the next portion of this segment, and every week we have a BeVeg certified vegan product of the week. This week we have a drink beverage, a BeVeg REFIX, and I have with me the founder and owner of the company, Raul. Here it is. I don't know if you noticed that during the show I was drinking it, and now it's all gone. Here's the BeVeg certified vegan logo. Raul, thank you for joining us and sticking with us during the entire show backstage.
Thank you for
Tell
the
me
opportunity.
a little bit about your brand, which, by the way, when I got in the mail, as I was rushing up here to get it, I was so excited to see on the box the way you guys have it packaged. Let me get the box. Will you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah.
How'd you guys get your start? Tell me about REFIX.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, Carissa. I like to be here, and please, I would like to remind you that I am Spanish and English is not my mother tongue, so I will appreciate if you can speak slowly. But the main reason of REFIX is we noticed that sport drinks are based on sugar and water. They are not really healthy.
This is an alkaline seawater.
Yeah, because seawater has a pH of 8. So sports drinks are based on of sugar and water, and there are not really healthy isotonic drinks in the market. And we also noticed that the seawater has the same mineral salts that human blood. It has magnesium, calcium, silicium, potassium, up to 78 mineral salts. So the mineral salts from the sea are very concentrated. But if you mix 20% of seawater with 80% of spring water, you have a liquid with the same mineral salts of your body, but in the same concentration of your body, 7 grams per liter. So it's a real isotonic drink.
And how did you learn all this?
Because I am a biologist, so I live close to the sea. Yeah, we have knowledge about the sea.
And how long has REFIX been around?
We found it 3 years ago, and in 1 year we started selling it in US, and also we sell in Switzerland, Slovenia, several countries.
People watching Gene and Gene, by the way, is a very international audience. So where can people find REFIX? Online? Is it in stores as well? Or?
Yes. You can buy on Amazon, or we have a US website that is refixyourself.us.
I like that, refix yourself. And that's so consistent with the kind of show we had today about getting into alignment, connecting, fixing yourself. So REFIX. I'm on my second one, by the way. They're good. They're very good. And I'm dehydrated, so they quench my thirst. And I love, here's the packaging. I was really happy to see this.
Yeah, I like
the BeVeg vegan symbol there, upside down. Do you have any partners in your business or?
Partners. Yes, we have this week. The next week we're gonna sign with 2 investors from Switzerland and Spain, but our main partners are in New York. We have a good partners in New York that distribute the product around the US and Mexico.
Let me put up these pictures that my team did. Look at this. Aren't these pretty? Let's remove the banners so you can see them better.
Yeah, you like the picture?
Right? Very refreshing. Very, who doesn't want to pick that up in the summer and touch that cold, refreshing, healthy, alkaline drink?
Yeah, exactly. It has a little salty taste, but it's also sweet. So it's a different taste, I think.
And did you say if you're in stores in New York or anywhere right now, or are you mostly online?
We have local stores, but I don't really know the stores.
Okay, your partners in New York would know. And you're a biologist by trade, so that's how you learned this. And where do you live?
and in the northwest of Spain, in Galicia. Do you know?
I've never been there, but
No.
okay.
Yeah, a little far from US. And you
Yeah.
are from?
Yes.
Sorry?
Well, thank you for joining us at this hour. What time is it there?
Now it's 11 p.m.
11 p.m. Well, you can have a REFIX midnight snack.
Sorry?
You can have a REFIX midnight snack.
Yeah. So we need. Do you know the company Zara? In the text, the company Zara to buy clothes. Sarah.
What about Sarah?
Do you know the? We live close to the main company of Zara. Do you know Zara? No.
No, I don't.
Okay, don't worry. Don't worry.
So if you have an opportunity to tell people, why they should buy this or need this, what would you say to them? I mean, obviously it's a healthy type of water.
Yeah.
Is this supposed to replace normal drinking water, or is it a supplement to normal drinking water?
For example, if you want to buy a sport drink or isotonic drink, what do you find in the market? You have maybe Powerade, Gatorade, this kind of drinks, but that's
lots of sugar.
Yeah, it's the main sport drink in the US, but they are similar to a Coke. It's similar to a Coke. It has plenty of sugar. So our product has no sugar. It has only 3.5 calories per bottle. It's suitable for diabetics. But the main thing is the seawater, because it's the only drink in the market that has the 15% of the daily value of magnesium. So it helps to a good body recovery after an exercise. We sell a lot of bottles in Spain to prevent hangover, because people drink a lot and then drink REFIX to prevent.
So it will help the hangover.
Yeah. But also, sorry?
No, yeah, I was going to say, I see the ingredients here. It's lemon, seawater, no sugar, lemon juice. Yeah, so it has a nice lemon flavor. So I'm sure chilled, this would be very, very refreshing. I just got it out of the box and still refreshing, but I'm sure if it was chilled in the fridge, it would be a great drink to take to the beach and take a day off and refix myself, which I very much need. Okay, well, thank you and congratulations on being certified vegan by BeVeg. You're globally certified and with the global trademark on the bottle and on the box. We love to see that. So thanks for sending us this. And our vegan logo is about to gain global accreditation, which means your product will be not only globally vegan certified, but accredited too. So that's great bragging rights for you. And hopefully you can get into more United States store chains. I know I was introduced to you through a mutual friend, I think, in New York.
So can you repeat?
I think we were introduced through a mutual friend in New York. I was either introduced to you or your partner.
Yes, you talk with them first.
Okay, yeah. So, yes. So let me know if you ever come to New York. I'm in Florida right now with this COVID thing. Hopefully you're hanging in there in Spain with COVID. But we love the drink, and we'll put a link up on the website so people can order it. And any final thoughts you want to let anyone know out there about the REFIX drink?
No, I only would like to say that the vegan logo position our drink as a most sustainable drink, a most conscious drink in the world market. No, so I think it's a good benefit because we use a glass bottle, aluminum cap, so we don't use.
Yeah,
plastic.
it is glass.
Yeah, so it's like a more sustainable drink thanks to the vegan logo.
And are you patenting by any chance your product as a special formula, since it is the only one that's alkaline like this with the seawater?
No, it's not patent. We have trademark in all the countries, but yeah, it's not patent.
Maybe we should do patent pending process.
Yeah, you can
From
copy.
the lawyer here, you know, right? And I'm not a patent lawyer, but you know, I know a little bit about all the different types of laws from going to law school and taking the bar exams. Anyway, well, thank you so much for joining us and for sending us this. Here's the box with the vegan logo. There it is. There, yes. And
thank you.
Thank you. And we look forward to sharing the news and sharing the message out there and letting all the vegans know that this is a BeVeg vegan certified drink and that the natural flavorings are completely of plant origin, not animal origin, because the laws right now, they do allow you to say natural flavoring, natural coloring on things, and you don't know what that means. And it means that it could not be vegan. So for those that care, which this audience does, this is a completely vegan drink. So thank you for being vegan, and we look forward to working with you some more. So thanks, Raul.
Thank you, Carissa.
And everyone else, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Laws That Matter. I'm Carissa Kranz. We will be back here next week, same time, same place, Gene Unchained News Network, and noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm going to close the show with what we didn't get to play before the show, which was the promo for Dani Rukin, our featured guest, and REFIX. So thanks everyone for joining us, and see us next week.